Everyone, welcome. There we go. Welcome to the Grow Community Call for August 9th. As you see, we have a few new faces on here in Jonathan and Caroline. We will get to them very shortly with some exciting announcements and progress on our projects. But before we do that, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go over a couple things. All right. Can everyone see the Grow Community Call August 9th? Yep, perfect. All right. So like I said, welcome to the call. It is being recorded. We'll post it on socials. We'll post it on Discord. It will go on YouTube as well once we get it all done. Reminder, I just like to hit this every single time. What are we actually doing as the Grow blockchain? One, we're harnessing blockchain technology to nourish people, animals, and the planet with the vision to decentralize the global agriculture and farming industry and take it from a very, very centralized system to where everything points back to a centralized, either government regulated body or a centralized corporation, and move it into a true blockchain to where every single one of these colored dots is one of us as a community member, as a node owner, and be able to move the power back into the hands of the actual users. Every time you think about the blockchain, this is how all of us should be thinking about it. The Grow blockchain is the center tech that any good project that can be built that moves things forward in our mission, which is to nourish the world in any ag focused way. So we become the base blockchain. For those of you that understand layers in blockchain, we are a base layer one blockchain, meaning that our goal is to be that base and allow good projects and partner with good companies to then continue that goal and be incredibly versatile, allowing for that integrations. And today we've talked about two of our projects since we started, and I'm going to show you the progress on all of those. Quick little reminder as well. Web 1 was the information economy. Web 2 is the platform economy where it allowed creators via Facebook, Instagram, to come in, easily create websites, easily create content, but everything was still owned and managed by those centralized organizations. Web3, true Web3 is moving into the ownership economy where the users and the people that are contributing to that chain the best actually get the rewards with everyone else. And that's what we're moving to in our mission to nourish the world with transparency, traceability, and trust. And here is how we are doing that. So we have talked briefly in our last community call about the Grow Renaissance and what that means to us and how we want to move that. As kind of a quick overview and reminder, if you've heard me pitch this over the last year, you used to hear me get on and say, this is the Grow Revolution. And as we thought and as we talked to more of our farming partners, looked at more of the things that were happening in the world of how do we actually feed humanity while nourishing the atmosphere and the soil that we're doing that on, the revolution word didn't really stick anymore. And it became more of a renaissance. When we looked at what most of us see as the European Renaissance, how did that come? What actually changed the way that humanity thought? It was able to bring in new thinking leaders. And we believe that if we just start a revolution, it will truly be that. Yes, we may overthrow some of the centralized systems that are currently in place, but we can't just have that end over time. What we want to do is match the best technology in the world with blockchain, AI, and other tech, and bring that to the oldest and best practices that have been here on how do we make sure that the soil has the most nutrients in it? How do we make sure that the plants, animals, and ourselves as humans on the planet are eating in the best way possible? It has to be done through a renaissance. It has to be done in a new way of thinking, in a new way of acting, and something that can truly carry on for the rest of the world for many, many generations to come. And that is why we have changed the wording and really the tagline behind the mission that we have into the Grow Renaissance. And to help spread that mission, we have our Grow Renaissance podcast launching next week. So we have already recorded episodes for that. We've already done all of the groundwork to get that launched, and it will be launching live to the world and to all of our community members to start telling and spreading the word of everything that we're doing in a much, much easier way. As you see on these calls today, These are mostly node owners. Most of you are running a grow node. You're an integral part of the community. In order for that to grow, we have to spread the mission of what we're doing. People just need to start being aware that there are answers and solutions and things being done to change some of the problems that we have right now in how we feed ourselves. So, getting into our projects. The first project I want to talk about today is Farm Tracer. So, as you know, one of the goals with blockchain is to use that to be able to track and trace the inputs of what go into raising plants and animals. That also leads us to our Nourish marketplace, which is connecting us with the origins of your food. And that has now launched. So I want to go to the chat really quick. If you have bought food with Grow Token on the Nourish marketplace, I see Sean, you already put in there. I ordered beef from Royal Farms and used my Grow Token. Amazing. This is great. I see we're adding medicines, vaccines. Yes, that will be added. But if you have bought beef from the nourishmarketplace.com, please put that in the chat. John T, I just got 4 boxes today. Freezer is stocked. This is amazing. Sean Sweet, Cindy, yes. Okay. I want to show this to you guys for those of you that have not seen this. Let me just change this screen really quick. And so you can see exactly how this works. So this right here, if you go to thenourishmart.com, you'll be able to go here. You can see Grow and the Nourish Marketplace and the current products that you can buy. So right now, our main partner is Royal Family Farming. You could come on here. You can buy honey, their Nurse Colostrum product, different boxes of beef, and some apparel. And all of this can be done with your Grow token. So if you click on, let's say I want to buy this honey here, I go to add to cart. That's going to come into my cart. Proceed to check out. And then here, when I get to the checkout, I would put in my information. And then you see the payment options right here. So this is your Grow token. And this updates every single minute to the current price of the market of the Grow token. Now, one thing for everyone to be aware, because we've had some people not understanding the difference between a native Grow token and an ERC20 token. So when you are using Grow to purchase your food on this marketplace, it must be an ERC20 token. And what that means is because, as I said earlier, we are our own layer 1 blockchain, the rewards that we're mining every single day from our nodes, those are native to the Grow blockchain. However, to come into and use what an ERC20 is, that is an Ethereum-based token. And so what you need to do is bridge from your native Grow token into an ERC20 token. And you can do that inside of your Grow account. You just go to your wallet, and then there's a tab that says bridge, and you could bridge from your native mined Grow tokens into ERC20. And then those ERC20 tokens are what you use to send to the wallets here. Okay. So you go and click this, you can place your order. I'm not going to fill all this out right now on the call. And then all you do is you send those ERC20 tokens to the wallet that it gives you. Give it about 10 to 90 seconds. The blockchain and Explorer will actually confirm that that specific amount of Grow ERC20 tokens was sent to that specific wallet. It will confirm, and then all of this will be shipped to you, and you will show up. It will show up in your door. So the Nourish Marketplace is live. It's kind of interesting. I've been talking about this a lot, and it doesn't seem like a very big thing that you can take a native token and buy food. But from what I know, other than maybe 2 that I saw with Bitcoin, there are no other sites in the world right now where you can run a blockchain miner node, take those tokens and turn it into food that shows up on your front door. So massive thanks to our team on the back end that got all of this done, to Royal Family Farms for everything that they did to get you that food. It's the best steak I've ever had in my life. My wife just texted me yesterday and said I need more honey. So I had to go steal honey from the office to bring home to her. But get your food, get it to your door, and more exciting news. We currently right now have a partner farm ready to come on and launch with us. So we will be adding more and more farms that are willing to accept Grow Token in exchange for food. To the community members, I get a lot of questions. How can we get more farms? How can we get farms in our region, in the Netherlands, in Indonesia to get on board with this? This is what we need from them. And conversations from you as our community is what will help this grow. Do they have the ability to ship food directly to a consumer? That's number one right now. There's a lot of farms right now who don't have that ability, and that's fine. But if they already have it, it moves them up in our ability to get them in. Two, if they've had a conversation about blockchain and what a native reward is, then getting them to me and our team so we can walk them through how to onboard into the Nourish Mart. So that's how you can help us as community members in getting more farmers and more food and allowing more and more people access to this Nourish Mart as we continue to grow it. So thank you for all of your support. The orders have actually been awesome. The first 2 weeks we sold out of beef, and we're going to keep launching that as these continue to be moved and butchered and so we can send the steak. But keep ordering food and post it on socials. Talk about socials here in a second. All right, that was the Nourish Marketplace. Let me go to Carbon Ag. We have talked about carbon from day one, knowing that it was an amazing way for us to leverage blockchain tech. And today we have our partners in Trifera on the call with us to talk about what we are doing in the carbon world. So we have today Jonathan and Caroline, who are the co-founders of, sorry, I'm just trying to stop my screen. Here we go. You can see their faces. The co-founders of Trifera. They have an amazing background. They've been flying all over the world, it feels like, over the last 6 months, from Puerto Rico to Switzerland, and now coming to Washington and Utah to work with us to be able to help us decentralize the way that we do this and bring in an amazing tech. So before I turn it over to let Jonathan and Caroline introduce themselves, I just want to preface how amazing the technology that they've built really is. So as I've gotten into the carbon credit world, and as we've worked with Royal Farming, other farmers on what is the process to start verifying and actually get carbon credits that can be sold to generate revenue for that farmer for that project. It's very difficult and fairly archaic. There are a couple main leaders in the space right now, and when you call them, they put boots on the ground and they are years out from being able to get in and get these projects started. Well, if you're a farmer, if you're putting in the hard work to go generate these credits and originate them, you don't have 2-3 years to wait to get somebody to even come tell you if it's a viable project. And so I'll leave most of this to Jonathan and Caroline so they can explain what they do. But thank you for working with us. Thank you for being here today. Jonathan, Caroline, I'll turn it over to each of you. Maybe give a brief introduction of who you are, how you got here, and we'll ride from there.
Cool. Do you want to start, Caroline?
Yes, hello everyone, and Will and Cindy, thank you very much to you for all your fabulous support and being such great partners and collaborators with us, also fantastic innovators. My name's Caroline Gray. I am co-founder of Trifera and look after all things for on the go-to-market side. We founded Trifera in 2022 officially, but really got going in a big way last year. And we'll talk more about what all that means later. So Jonathan, over to you.
Cool. Yeah. So first of all, Will and Cindy, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm delighted to address this group, and I think it's a real privilege. So we're very happy to be part of this community. I feel very honored and strongly advocating the purpose that you guys have. I think it's fantastic. And as node owners ourselves, we're super excited about all of the things that you're doing on this network. A little bit about me. I could go on for hours, of course, but I'll keep it brief. So Jonathan Horn, I'm founder and CEO of Trifera. By background, I'm a theoretical physicist. I did 20 years in investment banking, and then Caroline and I founded this company, Trifera, to really try and understand in detail what's going on in the real world, so what I think of as real world assets. I've been very, very excited to start working with the Grow Network and Royal Family Farms and many other people who understand, kind of what's going on in the real world. And I think what's fabulous about this partnership that we have with Grow is that Treefera is essentially the oracle. So we can, using satellites and a lot of artificial intelligence, can bring a huge amount of data and transparency and kind of discoverable, understandable, and trustworthy data to the Grow network. And then it's the Grow network and the machinery and the mechanisms that that network has that brings all of the kind of goodness in connecting all of these, everybody on this call and all of the participants. That's the kind of magic of it. And I think it's the collaboration that I find really, really exciting. Big things only get done, in my view anyway, when people really collaborate. And this is the absolute, you know, the very philosophy and the ethos behind this is about collaboration. And I really like that.
I love that. Thank you both, Caroline and Jonathan. Jonathan, one thing that's been really intriguing to me as we've gotten to know you and is going for your history of being at JP Morgan in the TradFi world and seeing this new asset class start to come in and then making that jump over to Treefera and then moving it into blockchain as we've kind of opened that world. Can you just tell the community a little bit about what went through your mind, especially on the real world assets piece? Because you saw the asset class come in, now it's becoming a real world asset tied to blockchain, which is, in my opinion, the greatest use case of blockchain that has currently been done up to this point. Like, if we look at blockchain, yes, tracking Bitcoin was amazing, smart contracts into Ethereum, but now we're getting into real use cases, not just NFTs of pictures of monkeys or llamas, depending on what you would want to put on there. But I had to throw that in. That's an inside
even
joke
lemurs.
for us. Yeah, or
I was
lemurs.
going to say, I think Caroline would prefer lemurs.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Grow community, they're all taking the mickey out of me right now.
I had to find a way to put it in here. Okay. Anyways, we'll let you all in on our inside joke at some point. But walk them through that process, because I think it is really, really cool. And when we talk about utility and blockchain, I saw somebody in the comments putting it in, this real world assets and the asset class, particularly of carbon credits, and matching that to a digital world and blockchain, kind of how you got there and what that has meant for you.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it, Will. So I actually was born and brought up on a farm. So and that was in like the middle of the UK. If people want to look it up, it's a place called Rutlandshire. It's the smallest county in England. So it's little, you know, it's literally like something out of the Lord of the Rings. So the place I grew up and the people I grew up around are people who really understand the value of things in a very kind of tangible way. Then I'm a theoretical physicist by background. So in theoretical physics, you're dealing with the weird and the wonderful all the time. So things can be both wave and particle. Then, you know, investment banking, a very interesting space. And really in investment banking, the information about money is more important than the money itself. So that kind of crazy little tiny gem of insight is understood very deeply by people in that world. When I come to the growth situation, and you know, when we met at when we came up and met at the Royal Family Farms, I thought, wow, this is what the beauty of this is. People who are living in the real world, and I was really moved actually by their story. They're only interested in two things: producing food for the world, number one. I think their stat is 1% of all the people in the world are farmers, so it's our obligation to produce food. And the second thing that they really struck me is for this to be sustainable, we need to really engage ourselves in soil health. So when I looked at all of those things kind of lined up together, and I looked at what Caroline and I have kind of founded with Treefera, it's an absolute natural fit to get people who are interested in serious, real world assets, food, conservation of our planet, sustainable farming, all of these things, and then try and democratize the value of that through the blockchain. So I've always loved blockchain. I've always thought it's a fascinating technology. I spent many years at Citigroup and at JP Morgan trying to think of a serious use case. I honestly failed. But when I met with Will and with Wright and Cindy, I thought, okay, this use case makes sense. And why it makes sense from a blockchain point of view, most blockchain kind of applications today are either, I think they're apes, not monkeys, but anyway, so ape pictures, but we can discuss. Well, I mean, the kind of chronology of primates doesn't matter too much here, but I think actually a lemur is also a primate. But anyway, we'll come back to that. But that is, to me, a stupid waste of time and a waste of compute and a waste of all of our intellect. What we're doing in this case, I think, is fabulous, super engaging, and we will be proud to be associated with it in the long term. I don't know anybody who'll be proud of those 8 pictures. They may be or may not. But what we're doing here really substantiating what's actually really going on the ground, say in Royal Family Farms and many other places, forestry, swamps, bogs, preservation of all of these kind of ecosystems, what's going on the ground with well-intentioned, serious people that can be substantiated properly with remote sensing through satellites and artificial intelligence. Bringing those things together will be incredible. So my personal journey is I've sort of kind of come full circle. When I got, and I was saying this to Caroline, Caroline's actually frightened of animals, but when I got back on the farm, even the smell of it made me happy. So I thought life has a funny way of bringing these things back together. So that entire journey sort of brought me back in a way to my origin, which was farming. And if I can alloy farming with artificial intelligence, then I'm a very lucky man.
I love it. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. I'm just sitting here and looking at some of the Q&As and got a couple texts. Maybe Caroline, can you break down what Treefera does in the simplest terms of, we now know why it got here, where it's here, and why really where it came from in Jonathan's mind. Now, can you dumb it down to even me so I can understand exactly what it is we're doing?
I'm good. I'm only good at the basics. So yeah, absolutely. I think the key thing for Treefera, the key purpose, is what we do. We're a piece of technology that is able to measure incredibly accurately. Now, the scientists in our team don't always like me using the word accurately, so they use comprehensively. But very accurately, even to the point of being able to see if a small tree has been chopped down or the level of harvesting it has been taken, as an example. As well as collate data on methane emissions or methane avoidance. And we collect that data mainly via satellites. We do sometimes take ground truth in the original sense, obviously to calibrate on our models. But we use sort of all of this huge amounts of satellite data from all over the world on multiple satellites. And we pull that together and then do lots of various sort of algorithms and machine learning functionality that works across it. We do a lot of cleaning of those images so we can get very, very powerful data analytics that then act as proof points. So in the sense of the carbon markets for the piece that we're taking, what it does, it enables either insurers or landowners themselves. I know in the case of Royal Family Farms, what it enables when they're selling to the company like Nestle or to Walmart can absolutely see, they have the proof point from the Treefera data that absolutely says Royal Family Farms have done what what they said they would do. And then Nestle, for example, can then feel very, very comfortable and speak to both their shareholders and the regulators that they can confirm that they can actually inset, for example, when they are buying milk, or offset carbon credits with regard to the activity they use. So that's it in a very short, simple nutshell.
Thank you, Caroline. It's interesting because we talk about blockchain, and blockchain is an amazing technology. It's also only as good as the data that gets put into it. And so, as Jonathan mentioned earlier, being the oracle of that data that says this is good, verifiable data that can then go in and allow the originators, the farmers that I always say are putting in the actual work, the blood, sweat, and tears to accomplish the mission we have of nourishing the earth. Now they can actually be rewarded for that. And I think the other thing that made me think of is I saw someone in the chat talking about cows. and how I think cows get a lot of hate right now for their carbon output. And one of the beautiful things of the marriage between Trifera and blockchain and a community of people is we can actually see, in what I believe is the most non-biased way possible, what is actually the best. And I don't think we have that system currently in the way that we do things, because it becomes very, very easy to create bias and to be very, very good at marketing. But when you get good data, then the blockchain can become the truth and integrity around what is actually happening, and then reward the best players and move out the bad actors who may just be really good at creating a some type of narrative. So that's beautiful. Thank you. So to kind of end this out, I'll let either one of you go. When you think about the future, we're sitting here today, and I saw some comments that I want to hit this point really quickly too. This is real world utility, guys. We've talked about blockchain, we've talked about the things that have been used. We've kind of thrown some jokes around of the way it's been used. This is it. This is how it all comes together. And thank you to all of you for supporting it, because the compute power, the things that we need, the base of our ability to do all of these projects is our ability to, one, get a community behind it, and two, run nodes that can compute the data and keep the blockchain active and live in a decentralized way. So thank you for showing up today. Thank you for running your nodes and doing that. So as we futurecast a little bit, what excites you, Jonathan and Caroline, about the work you're doing and the possibilities for the future? And where do you see us in the future with what we're working on right now?
Jonathan, do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay. So I think there's now you probably heard some of the laughs because I will be very open because I trust this community. We were very fortunate to be introduced to the Grow community via a very mutual dear friend of ours, Andy Jenkins. And so straight away, anyway, I think that was very nice to be introduced by people that we know, because obviously it's built a trust. But the team will all know here that when people had to explain to me the difference between a lemur and llama. So I apologize in advance for my lack of animal knowledge. But what I do know, in my background is in I've taken large technology companies previously and taken them from startup to go to public offering on the stock markets. So I do really enjoy the go-to-market side. And what I'm really excited about, when I was educated on Grow and the blockchain and purpose, I just think this is a fantastic opportunity for us all to build, as Will's pointed out, a decentralized community that is owned by the people that are utilizing, that are both benefiting from that and using it, and at huge scale. And I will be very straightforward here and say that we're selling now we're in a very fortunate position as a business. We sell to very large enterprises, the various big brand names and so on. But the thing that Jonathan and I frankly are most excited by for the Trifera future is sort of the integration, being the oracle with Grow and working side by side and collaborating with all of you. We just think it enables us all to reach a market that in normal world, in the regular world, wouldn't be able to reach. And also, I think enables us to do some good, but also then, as we said, distribute that globally and very quickly at pace. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. This is actually my excited face. This is the same face I have at the Christmas morning. So this is the most excitable I get. To describe me as even keeled would be like an understatement. I'll tell you what I think.
That's a mature thing, though. I'm working on that. My wife tells me that I do this too much.
Yeah, no, I've never done that. Even if I had a car accident, I'd be thinking. In fact, Caroline and I once years ago did have a car accident, and my statement to Caroline was, I turned to her. I was in the passenger seat, obviously. I said, "Oh dear, that's not our finest moment." So it was massive. So anyway, let's move on. I can't imagine a more important and a worthwhile thing that we're going to do. And I think it's testament to you, Will, and Cindy, and everybody on this call, that you've taken a little step forward into what I think is going to be a more fair and reasonable and sustainable future. And I can't imagine anything more important than that. So I think we should all bring all of our talents to bear on this enterprise. Yeah, and I mean that in this wider kind of community sense. And if we do that, we can make, it's always amazes me how a very few people can make a massive difference if they're purposeful. It's interesting, we had a nice lunch today with our team. We were an amazing group in London, and we were talking about the Marmodons. And now, for those who may be less or more or less familiar with Greek mythology, the Marmodons were the group of people who worked with Achilles. Achilles was the most famous warrior of his time, but he wasn't actually about war fighting. Achilles was all about mastery of his skill. And the Marmodons who worked with Achilles were all about how can we be the very best at what we do. And Marmodon, our new employee who's Italian, said that Marmodon in Italian is actually very close to the word ant, and it means very small people in a coordinated effort can make a massive difference. And I think that's the kind of epitome of the Grow Network. I think we all feel a little bit small and perhaps overwhelmed by some of these things, but I think working in unison, coherently, consistently, we can make a huge difference. That's what I'm really excited about this future.
Thank you both. That's beautiful, and I think a great way to kind of wrap it up and move into what do we do for that? Because as you talk about that small group of people that are purpose driven, that is us. It is everyone on this call. It is the people around us, and we can do some amazing things with what we have. And so how do we do that? What are the things that each one of you can do? And I'm going to share my screen again here. So just to give some last updates here. So you've now met Trifera, you've met Jonathan and Caroline, and we currently are working on, we will be in Royal Family next week in Washington State. And then Jonathan and Caroline are actually coming right here where I am right now to meet with us and our team here for a few days to make sure that we can get our carbon credits going. We have some credits from Royal Family Farming that we're working on being sold this month, and also a fully regenerative system launched in Royal City, Washington. So we have some really, really cool things that we're all going out to see and to get done and to move. And for those of you that don't know, we actually have a lodge in Royal City, Washington. It's about 10,000 square feet. It was an old lodge that we will be converting into a tour and a place where you can actually go see this working. You can go see the blockchain in action. You can see Tree Fair in action. You can get a little bit dirty. You can go smell some of the poop that's getting turned into worm castings, and you could feel it. You could touch it. And so we will make sure that all of you are the first to know when that can happen. We're just getting it all tied up and buttoned up so that it works when you all get there. So the community action items, things that we can all do that may seem small, excuse me, but move the needle for us in a really big way. First, continue to bridge your Grow wallet. So I talked earlier today about moving those native Grow tokens into an ERC20 token, and that is bridging. That's exactly what bridging is. From a native blockchain, one layer one to another layer one, bridge your wallet. The number of bridged wallets that we have help us move the project forward on the blockchain and the crypto side. Also, please follow us on social media. We have been waiting for the podcast to launch to come post these, but please follow the Grow Renaissance at Grow Renaissance, Grow.Renaissance on Facebook, Renaissance Grow on Twitter. We had to flip it because Grow Renaissance was already taken, and then Grow Renaissance on TikTok. And then if you want to see what we're doing, Roy and mine personally, which will also start when the podcast starts, please follow us there. Now, why does this matter? Outside of just keeping you updated on a day-to-day basis, seeing the cool things and hearing what we're doing, the number of followers we actually have in our community matter as we go into top tier exchanges for the Grow token. And so if you want to be able to trade us on a Gemini and a Coinbase, other than just see what's happening, these are part of the metrics. So those bridged wallets, the amount of followers that we have, on our socials and the join the grow Discord. So I have been more active on the Discord, posting update videos, talking to all of you in the community. We will continue to do that. We will post all of our socials there, the interviews that we're doing, the recordings of people that we bring on this call and the community calls. All of that will be based on Discord. Why? It's a decent platform, but also those exchanges want to look at that. So when you go into the crypto land world, these are the types of things that they want to see us doing to be able to move the needle. Okay, so I think I would kind of pretty updated on the questions as they came through, but I'm just going to go double check if there are any Q&A that has not answered. One thing that came through quite a bit is global shipping. So we are working on global shipping, particularly for the honey and the nourish projects, as well as adding more global farms. We're just working on the shipping logistics of that and different zip codes. And so is the carbon credit being sold to small buyers have to use grow tokens to buy carbon credit? Great question, Dan. So with the carbon credits sold this month, those will most likely be sold to a large corporation. So some of the buyers in the circle for that would be Microsoft, and we will enable them to pay with cash, or if they are going to pay in the grow token, they will get a discount to pay if they actually transfer into grow token, which will be ideal for all of us. As we move down the line and we create more and more demand for what a carbon credit with Treefera and the grow blockchain is, then we can move more and more into how we leverage the token for those purchases. And Caroline mentioned earlier a guy by the name of Andy Jenkins, who is the introduction of myself, Grow, and Treefera, Caroline and Jonathan together. He's actually pulling into the driveway right now. We have a meeting. Yeah, we have a meeting up here to talk about all of these things and how we're bringing it all together and some other very exciting things happening. I'm just going to give a little teaser to this, and I have a bad habit of sometimes opening my mouth too soon. But we are working on what will be a really amazing restaurant here in Midway, Utah, that will serve grow farm trace food, accept the grow token for food, and doing it with a pretty massive personality in the agriculture space. That's all. That's where we'll leave it at for now, to kind of leave a teaser, but it's very exciting. So thank you all for being here. If you have more questions that we did not answer, please put those in the Discord. We will come through. We will answer those. I'll create podcast interviews and answer them in Discord. One other thing about the podcast, the way and the format of that, some of it's going to be me, myself, Austin, me and Austin and other people involved with Grow talking about the things we're doing. We will also bring on our partners, people like Jonathan and Caroline, to dive deeper into the updates of the projects that we're doing. And I will be creating specific AMA episodes. So one of the things, especially as we're running around the world, running from farm to farm, it gets difficult to jump on Discord all the time. But we will start posting podcast episodes answering all of the questions of the community. And the way that we get those is you put those in Discord. So make sure that if you have a question that has not been answered or that you don't feel like you have a good answer to, please put it in the Discord, and I will create specific either interviews or solo podcasts answering those questions to keep you guys updated on everything that we are doing. So thank you for being here. This is amazing. Jonathan and Caroline, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules, and I look forward to seeing you guys in Royal in Utah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Pleasure. Thank you for the time. Really appreciate it.